So we got another day of childcare because what's the fever today?
Well, yesterday there was no fever in the morning, but she sounded like absolute garbage, so didn't want to send her to school, not being able to breathe and stuff like that. But then last night at bedtime, temperature was 101.8. Gave her some NyQuil, which did help her sleep, thankfully. But this morning temperature is 101.2. So.
Is it like the flu or something?
No, I mean, she literally feels fine, but with her, what's so weird is when allergies kick in on her, I don't know if you've noticed over the course of her life, but the first day or two, she will normally spike a temperature when she's got severe allergies, and then it'll go down.
Wouldn't you think the allergies would have kicked in like weeks ago?
It depends, because we don't know what she's allergic to wise here, because Florida allergies are totally different than Georgia allergies were. Because I've never had allergies before, but some days here, I'll have the same thing, the itchy eyes and the stuffy ishness. So.
At what point did you call the ambulance?
At none. I mean, she doesn't need one of those.
No, for the sound we heard.
Okay, so.
What's the protocol? What should you do?
So here's the thing. Well, they don't know about the sound. So here's the thing. We're sitting here, and all of a sudden, above us, there's this massive loud thud. But at the exact same time of that thud, a plane also went by. So it made it a very confusing sound to really understand what happened. But there is a gentleman above us, I would say probably in his 40s, 50s.
Does he drive the Nissan?
No, he drives a car that's in the garage over there. That's why I keep looking to see if he's walking by. He's a heavy walker. But after that thud, we haven't heard anything. And it's like bothering me. And I want to go up and knock really bad. But then it's like, if he doesn't answer, then what do? It's not like you call the front of the apartments and be like, hey, go check this guy's apartment. You can't just do that.
Yeah.
This is one of those situations where I don't, what's right and what's wrong. Because he lives by himself. There's nobody else with him.
What it comes down to is having a plan.
Yeah.
And if you haven't set the plan up beforehand, then everything that happens after that is...
He needs you to pet him. You haven't pet him yet today.
Everything that happens after that is really just shooting from the hip. It's an audible. It's just anybody's guess. Would you want, if there was a noise here that to you didn't seem like anything, would you want other people sending ambulances and requesting that the apartment staff enter?
So that's where the issue comes in, because first off, initially I want to say no, I don't want people coming into my place of residence, but at the same time, what if something had happened and nobody did anything and end of life or something? Like, I don't know, this is going to bother me all day until I see that guy.
You like say, hey, I live above you. If you ever hear this noise and I don't yell, I'm okay.
Yeah, and I don't like double bang on the floor afterwards. Can you just call an ambulance for me?
What if that happened and we weren't here? Then he's like, it's cool. The downstairs neighbors got me. And we're like, we ain't here. Like,
yeah, that's why. So, my mom lives by herself. She's over 70. And I'm like, is it a asshole gift at Mother's Day or Christmas or whatever to give her a medic alert bracelet, like one of those I've fallen and I can't get up things? That's not medic alert, but you know that where you push the button and it automatically
life alert.
Life alert. Is that an asshole gift, or is that a, oh, she loves me gift?
But he's in the military.
He is in the military.
So he's trained.
You can be trained all day long, but nobody's trained on what to do from a heart attack most of the time. Like, I don't know. I mean, you got Jamie Foxx in the hospital from a stroke, like, and you wouldn't think anything like that would happen. I don't know. It's going to bother me. The guy upstairs is going to bother me. If I don't, but then what if he already left?
I was going to say, normally
just fell.
Normally he's gone
earlier than that.
We just slept later. Why did we sleep later?
Because I didn't want to get up at 6:30.
Okay.
So I turned off the 6:30 alarm.
I don't know. I thought it was the festivities.
Well, maybe that, but because I was up twice last night.
I'm glad I got that burger, because at like 5 o'clock, my stomach was like, I hate you.
You know what? I didn't have a burger. I had one taco and one fried green tomato. And at about 2 a.m. my stomach was like, you should eat something. And I was like, no, sleep. Go back to sleep, stomach.
Oh yeah, I went back to sleep so I wouldn't be awake for the hunger.
You know what sucks for you?
It's just one thing?
Right now, yeah.
Oh.
Is there more than one?
There's no breakfast?
That's what I was going to say, because normally I would drop the kid off at school and then stop by Whole Foods because we need more eggs. I have 4, which is enough for you, but you'll still be hungry, or I can feed our child and you can have a shake and some waffles.
So basically what you're telling me is that you're not prepared to feed me.
Basically, yeah. No, I'm not prepared to feed you eggs. I can give you plenty of other stuff, but I'm not prepared to feed you enough eggs to satisfy your stomach.
Well, then I'm going to recommend that you watch some other prepper channels.
And go buy a chicken.
Shout out Patrick Humphrey. That
Man,
was Patrick Humphrey texting and emailing me.
By the way, if you guys watched yesterday's video.
So maybe we're going to Nevada. I don't know. Dude, will you get out of my face?
We want to go to Nevada because we want to go back to Vegas. To Vegas.
But I put up a video last night where I was sharing information about changes in the economy, changes in the job market, changes to people's money, their income, and their ability to survive, not only in this country during this recession, but under this current administration. Mm-hmm. It was a life story, motivational, financial update. Mm-hmm. And the comment that I received on the video this morning, there are other prepper channels to watch. 2, TWO, I guess there's only 2 of them, who have incredible ideas for us who are on fixed incomes, who isn't living in an apartment in a city. Again,
have to read it
this is all one sentence. This is all one sentence. There are other prepper channels to watch too who have incredible ideas for us who are on fixed income, who isn't living in an apartment in a city, all kinds of different things. Yes, you have to rearrange your whole home. I've taken books out of the bookcase and put more valuable things there. Not the books are valuable. I love my books, but taking the china out of the china cabinet. Yeah, look at some of the other prepper people. They're pretty good. I'm sorry.
I don't know what's happening.
I was going to use this as a case study and an example, but I can tell how it's written that they're not really all there.
Yeah.
They're not really all there.
I still never understood what living in an apartment has to do with
I thought it was a jab at
anything.
Me for living in an apartment in a city, but I'm not really sure. But I also don't know how this helps with prepping, because you took the china out of the china cabinet and the books out of the bookcase to put something else there. But then where are you going to put the books and the china? Like you're 6 one way, half a dozen the other.
Yeah.
Like, did you get rid of them?
Yeah.
To then use that space to stockpile what? And based on the story that I was sharing, this had nothing to do with stockpiling. Had nothing to do with stocking up. It had everything to do with making money, making more of it. And
maybe they sold the books and stuff in the china cabinet.
And continuing to have a way to make that money despite AI taking your job. And if you're on a fixed income, then ultimately theoretically, if you're on a fixed income and it's a relatively low fixed income, then you're potentially at risk. Mm-hmm. If you're on a fixed income and that income is, alimony from a divorce from a star basketball player, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Fixed income, people use it as a negative thing, but your fixed income could be $1 million a month and somebody else's fixed income is $200 a month. The word fixed income does not equate to low income, and that's the problem.
Your fixed income could also be $1 million a month and your expenses are 1.1.
Yeah, so it all depends on how you're spending your money.
It all depends. I think what really matters here is that you have to listen and pay attention. You have to listen and pay attention. I will say this. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm no stranger. I don't shy away from people not liking me.
This is true.
Actually, one of the things that I'm very good at is making people not like me.
Also very true.
But
I'm still here.
I gotta say, passing judgment on Stephen Gardner on your interview, because of his subscriber count,
That's ignorant in my opinion.
because of his rationale and, seemingly unbiased opinion as he just presents the news.
I don't know. A lot of people judge things all the time. So I had this meme that I wanted to put up. Let me see if I can find it while you do this. I had this meme that I wanted to post because it's true and it makes perfect sense. But I was like, I can put this up and half the people won't understand it and the other half will get triggered. It says, what if I told you your beliefs don't make you a free thinker? The ability to change your beliefs based on new information does. And I'm like, they're going to use the word beliefs, meaning religion, but I'm thinking anything under the sun, not just religion. And so politics, all of it, but the ability to change your beliefs based on new information is what makes you a free thinker. But there's so many people out there who, this is how I think, this is what I think, this is what I whatever. Doesn't matter if you introduce new information, doesn't matter if you show me that I'm wrong, doesn't matter whatever else. You're wrong, you're stupid, I'm right, this is how I think.
Those people, the only news they want is more of the same to confirm.
Mm-hmm. That aligns with what they think, what they want, I agree.
And I will say that those people, and these are only those people who we have the ability to interact with because most people don't comment.
Yes, that's true.
But when someone says, I guess the opinions, they really just, when someone says, you need to get back to what matters most, which is what's happening here in the U.S., not world news, not Russia, Ukraine. You have to realize how stupid you sound when you say that what's happening around the world
doesn't affect us here. Yeah, because people seem to forget that it's our taxpayer dollars that are being sent to Ukraine to help fund a war. It's American military that is there currently, not in uniform, but they're there. And then if this does get worse and the U.S. decides they want to do more, it's our men and women they will send over there to fight. So you should keep an eye on what's happening all around the world. Yes, I focus on what's happening here because that's where I have my highest amount of interest. But the whole reason in talking to Stephen Gardner yesterday was to shed light on things for me that I don't know about, that I haven't been keeping up with, that I need to be informed on as well. So I think everybody should get out of their own little comfort zone, their own little box, and learn a little bit more, because you can never know too much, but you can definitely know too little. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the opinionated views of you should interview somebody with less subscribers than you because they've obviously bought into the agenda. Well, I believe he hit 1 million subscribers when he was reporting on stimulus. Or roughly 900,000 when he was reporting on stimulus. He crossed over the 1 million mark recently.
Yeah.
The same family that gives away thousands of dollars every month to help people. That to me is completely out of alignment with the agenda.
I agree.
Because the agenda is to see everybody fail.
Yeah. Broke and desolate.
Broke.
And needing help from.
Needing, while also propelling and further promoting the divide. I brought this up a few days ago, and somebody's like, well, you must watch Fox News. Actually, I watch and read all news because I want as many different versions of the story as possible. But it's kind of hard to argue with the fact that lower credit score applicants are going to get preferential treatment with lower fees than higher credit score, more qualified prime buyers when it comes to mortgages. It's pretty much black and white. Pushed by the Biden administration to further promote the divide. As those who work really hard and try to do what they have known to be the right thing to do for their entire lives have now just had the rugs pulled out from underneath them. And it's all the hard work you've done is going to be penalized. You're going to be penalized because others didn't. You did too good.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of socialism. You've done too good. So now you need to help others who haven't against your will. Stephen Gardner isn't giving away money because he has to, or he's been forced to, or there's some sort of mandate or executive order. He's doing it because he wants to.
Because he wants to, exactly.
Meanwhile, those who look at the situation and realize, well, the worse I do, the more irresponsible I am,
the more help I can get.
the more handouts I can receive.
Yeah.
Oh, and what a great time to promote socialism and laziness and more government handouts than right before announcing you're going to run for a second term.
And announcing in a way that no president has ever announced before, with some weird video as opposed to a national address, I think is what it's called, that most presidents have done in the past. Definitely weird. But it also ensured he couldn't screw up what he was reading off the teleprompter or touch little children or have ice cream on his hands. So there's that.
It was almost like a motivational Nike commercial
That's
or something.
what, I could hear it. And I was like, what is happening? Stop looking at me.
I was not motivated by it. And again, pissing people off, unpopular. He's not getting my vote.
Here's the thing.
He's not getting my vote.
I'll put it out there. I don't like any of them.
I didn't say who was. I
Yeah.
just said he's not.
I think every single president we've ever had, every single president we will ever have, every single president that wants to be president in 2024, they all have something good that they want to do or have done, or something about them that is good, but they all have something that I'm just like, God, that sucks. But you have to find that, what is the phrase, the lesser of two evils.
I'm interested in the candidate that is most likely to keep us safe, prevent war, reduce this wasteful spending and waste of money, block central bank digital currency, CBDC, and improve the economy for hardworking people and businesses.
I agree.
Not handouts for the lazy.
I agree.
That's what I want.
I agree.
That's what I would vote for. I don't know who that is. I don't know if I can get it. But the path that we're on, I'm not going to say, you know what, let me get another round. Like this, not to say that I ordered it the first time. It's like, was it Ron last night?
Yeah.
He got the free shot of tequila.
He got the free shot of tequila.
He didn't order it.
He didn't order it.
But he got it.
Yeah. He poured it. A friend of ours ordered a shot of tequila, and the bartender either misunderstood or on purposefully poured two, knowing that...
he didn't order it.
Yeah.
He got it, but he didn't want another round.
Yeah.
I didn't order Biden. I got it, but I damn sure don't want another round.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I was looking something up, and I can't find it now.
I got a video I'm going to put together later today about central bank digital currency and how it ties to Biden's second term, and ultimately how it's going to wipe out everybody's money, everybody's dollars, lock them down, track them under surveillance. And the main reason why he could be potentially running for a second term is for just that. The good news is we won't have CBDC right now. The bad news is if he gets his second term, we will have CBDC.
That is very true. So listen, I mentioned this on one of my videos. I talked about, how people need to pay attention to what's happening in Congress, like, and in your own state. Like, check out your, like congress.gov is one of the website I pulled up, and I was going over some of these things that are being introduced, some things that have been agreed to in the House, some things that have passed the House, passed the Senate, and now it's on to whatever else that affect us all that a lot of people may not know about because they don't talk about them on mainstream media. And I came across one that gets introduced every single year. And this one was introduced and it was already agreed to in the House. Now it's moving on to the Senate. It was introduced January 25th, but it's literally titled, it's called where is it? What is it called? Denouncing the Horrors of Socialism. So this bill that was passed in the House on February 2nd and now is moving to the Senate, this concurrent resolution denounces socialism and opposes the implementation of socialist policies in the United States. This is introduced every single year, voted on every single year, just to keep it moving, that we're not going to be a socialist country. But it was passed in the House on February 2nd, and it still has not passed in the Senate, whereas previously, within the next month, it has passed every single time. It's been over 2 months, and it's still sitting there. It has not passed yet. And I just thought that was funny because you mentioned socialism, and this bill pops into my mind every single time.
These are all parts of a whole. Mm-hmm. There's a force working behind the scenes, and unfortunately, the mass majority of the voter pool is on board with the lies and the stupidity and the empty promises. And they make up the majority. Mm-hmm. And they'll fall for it because they've been brainwashed. They've been conditioned to be broke, to be poor, and to rely on the government. The people who say that it is your right to have food and water and shelter or whatever, I mean, even in the wild, they have to go out and hunt. Mm-hmm. It's not handed to them.
Yeah, I agree completely. But the downside here is that a lot of people, because they know that they can get help from sources, they won't do enough stuff to help themselves. They'll rely on other people. And when you get enough people like that, when you have the older generation, unfortunately dying out, like you have a large number of people who won't make it to the next voting, right? And then you have this whole new wave of people coming in that are old enough to vote that also can't get that first job because there's no places hiring anymore, because brick and mortar is going away, because college is expensive, or because high school you flunk out or whatever else. You're going to have those people voting because they don't know any better. You're going to have those people voting for whatever's going to help them the most. And that's going to be, in their mind, socialism. I don't have to work as hard and I can get just as much as everybody else. That's the route it's going to go. And that's what I think a lot of people right now in our government positions is hoping for and betting on.
I want people to really understand what I'm saying here when I say that they are a master of mixing words, and I'll just use the term clickbait. Mm-hmm. Because if you recall, there was a long drawn out coverage of this proposal before it was voted for, approved, and signed. And it was called the Inflation Reduction Act. Mm-hmm. It didn't reduce inflation. It was called the Inflation Reduction Act. It didn't reduce inflation.
No.
It acted like it was. So that was partially true. 33 1/3% true. Therefore, in my opinion, it was a bold-faced lie. Mm-hmm. Therefore, let's run it back. Let's do it again. We will get on national television, stand behind a podium as we shuffle out and have this little address after the banking collapse and failure, and we'll begin the story, the talk of the narrative push that this is capitalism. This is capitalism. When in all actuality, what they're saying is this is the beginning of socialism. This is the beginning of socialism. Mm-hmm. Inflation Reduction Act didn't reduce inflation. Capitalism isn't capitalism, according to the current administration. Does that make sense?
It does to me. So you were saying that, food and water and housing is like a right or whatever. So I just looked up the Constitution. Is it constitutionally, is it a right? And when you look these things up, the U.S. federal government does not recognize the human right to water, but some provisions of federal laws promote particular aspects of the right. Okay, so you have this. Then you have in 1948, the United States signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR, recognizing adequate housing as a component of the human right to an adequate standard of living. They recognize it, but it doesn't mean it's held. You know what I mean?
I mean, you got to think some of these morons who believe this are also the same residents of the state of California, which will flat out tell you that it's illegal to collect rainwater. Therefore, it can't be a right.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a barrel in your
access to
backyard.
water. Oh, by the way, it's a Democratic state.
Yeah, there's that.
The same team that wants you to hold your hand out for them to provide for you. And all they'll provide to you, if you look around California, is destruction, crime, problems, homelessness, drug abuse. Is that what you want? Oh, no, it's what they want. They want your money, they want your votes, and they want you to have nothing.
Why did America vote against making food a human right? And it says here, the exact quote is, the United States is concerned that the concept of food sovereignty could justify protectionism or other restrictive import or export policies that will have negative consequences for food security, stability, and income growth. How do you hear that?
It's about the money.
It is about the money. My whole thing, I say profit over people. Pop. Hashtag pop. That's a thing. This one here is the right to life, liberty, and property in the Constitution. Section 1 writes, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Look,
that doesn't mean they're going to give you property. It means they won't deny you the ability to pursue.
Yeah.
If you remember, even in the movie with Will Smith, the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit, like you're not guaranteed.
You're not guaranteed it.
You're not guaranteed. And all they have to do is then make it financially impossible for people to have access to this liberty, this thought, this idea of owning property that they'll never actually really own. You'll continuously pay property taxes on. If you stop paying, they will take it back and then some. And also, if you do pay and they choose that they want it, they'll exercise eminent domain and it's theirs.
That's what I talk about eminent domain a lot, because right now there's a lot of eminent domain being used in our country for outside foreign, you hear my stomach? Yeah, for outside foreign companies to come in and take land to start building companies. Like,
oh yeah, we got, was it Michigan? Michigan with the,
we have North Carolina with VinFast, the governor of North Carolina, I think it was the governor of North Carolina, stated he would do everything he could to remove the people from this town so that this Vietnamese car company called VinFast could come in and start building electric vehicles. They were displacing homes, churches, and businesses in the name of money.
Michigan is bringing in Goshen. Goshen is a Chinese battery plant that's going to Michigan. They are ultimately paying for and subsidizing half of their operations for them to take land, take jobs.
So here's the thing. Biden passed that law. I don't know the name of it. I can't remember it. But it was basically that you weren't allowed to import pieces from China, especially when it comes to the chip plants and manufacturing and stuff, because he didn't want us to be dependent on China. So, like I said, when this all happened, I said that all this means is that they're going to circumvent it. Instead of ordering from China, they're going to bring China here, put them on our land, let them make it here, and then it becomes made in the USA, even though it's still made by a Chinese company.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what people need to understand is that this has happened before. And it has happened with a company called SK Battery. And they brought in boatloads of illegal immigrants, took U.S. dollars and took jobs, and barely pay these workers to survive. All to circumvent the system, infiltrate this country, take all that we have, and then turn their backs on us down the road.
Well, you have a lot of areas of other ethnicity, Chinese, maybe other, I don't know, Korean, Vietnamese, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know there is a place, and I cannot remember what city it was in, where it's so Chinese populated, densely populated, they have their own police force, Chinese police force, working the area. And
yeah, I mean, nothing can go wrong with that. Nothing can go wrong with it.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it's allowed. And, I have people on my channel all the time going, well, you should worry about the illegals crossing the border from Mexico in. I'm not nearly as worried about people from Mexico coming in, because everybody
Is Mexico trying to start a war with us?
They're not trying to start a war. Half the people you see out there doing the hard manual labor are Hispanic people, because they're trying to earn a living.
See, what they do is they try to make you believe that those crossing the southern border are the biggest problem, and the drugs, this, that, and the other. But it's like, really? Where do you think the drugs come from?
Yeah.
How do you think the drugs get here?
Yeah.
What planes do you think these drugs are flying in on? Like, really?
Yeah. If a person can get caught at the border, how do you think they're smuggling in all these drugs that you're worried about? It's not like Hector's smuggling in all this fentanyl or whatever else.
Watch Tom Cruise and American Made.
Oh, yes. Yes. The CIA has a hand in all of it.
I was trying to avoid using the C word.
Sorry.
Bye, y'all. It's nice knowing you. Bye.
You should edit that part out. Bleep. The bleep. My bad.
But
not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes.
Crazier things have happened. Yesterday, I went to go pick up my
yes, please walk
car.
over into my personal space, Max. I was hoping you'd.
I went to pick up the.
Don't lay on my computer, please.
Porsche Macan GTS. Finally got it back. I don't know. I think it might have been 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know how long they had it.
There.
Quite the ordeal, and very, very expensive. In that short period of time, it had racked up thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of repair work.
If you're going to lay down, do it.
And as I was sitting there going over the paperwork, we were just chatting it up about the economy, about the car market, about the automotive industry. And the service guy was telling me that he had been through this before in 2008, where they couldn't get parts. It's funny how this works out. 2008.
I'm like, what else happened in 2008?
The automotive, the crash. The big three are looking to get bailed out. What happened during that time? Three of which actually filed bankruptcy. 2 or 3. I got to check and see if Ford filed bankruptcy.
Bed Bath & Beyond just filed bankruptcy?
They've been filed bankruptcy. They were announcing it.
They were announcing it, but they officially filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy on Monday, I believe it was. And Chapter 11 is a little different than Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. But they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
So, let's see. Did Ford file bankruptcy in 2008? Ford Motor Company was able to survive without entering bankruptcy, partly due to a large line of credit which it obtained in 2007. The U.S. automakers were more heavily affected by the crisis than their foreign counterparts, such as Toyota. So what happened was, I think, was it Chrysler and GM filed bankruptcy. And, government-backed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So what they did was they filed bankruptcy, and they were bailed out, right? But what happens when you file bankruptcy? All your debts are restructured.
Yeah.
All the parts manufacturers that were owed money didn't get paid. They went belly up. So they had all these cars that couldn't get fixed because there were no parts being made. So they had to they had to then hurry up and start new companies to remake new parts that they've never made before. But this is how our government works. And he also reminded me of this cash for clunkers. This guy said he worked at Ford when it was cash for clunkers. And he said that there was a credit that you will receive. He said people were trading in brand new cars to get this credit. Perfectly good cars, trading it in because they were deemed, too wasteful of fuel and emissions and EPA economy and pollution. Therefore, they wanted them to trade them in and get more efficient vehicles. He says once we got them, we were forced to destroy them. He goes, it was the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. He goes, we either had to detonate the motor ourselves or use the provided, the government provided them with some form of product that would lock motors up.
Oh, wow.
They were like, look, we just can't do this and then have them back on the road.
Why?
Because they were doing the cash, they were paying to get these vehicles off the road because they produce too many, they're not fuel efficient. So they don't want to pay to take them off the road for them to end up back on the road again.
Well, I mean, you could still part them out and use the parts that weren't causing the issues or restructure those parts.
They wanted them destroyed.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Like, I don't know how much waste and, landfill space. And like, he goes, we locked up motors. We took bats to them. We had demolition derby sometimes. Like,
I mean, it sounds fun, but it sounds stupid at the same time.
this is the thought process behind
how our government works.
I'm pretty sure that was a Democratic-led presidency.
2008?
It was Obama. Was it Bush or Obama?
Bush should have been 2008. I think.
Still
Look,
Democrat.
yeah, but I'm.
Yes, granted.
Why do I think Bush was Republican? I'm really bad at this.
Granted, some Republicans say some crazy stuff.
Isn't Bush Republican? Clinton, Democrat. Bush, Republican. Obama, Democrat. Biden, Democrat. Bush is Republican from Texas.
Well, actually, it was a crossover year. So cash for clunkers.
Y'all don't judge me for not being great at politics and presidency stuff.
Obama. Let's see. On June 24th, 2009, President Obama signed into law the Car Allowance Rebate System, CARS, commonly known as Cash for Clunkers. So it was Obama.
Okay.
One of several stimulus programs whose purpose was to shift expenditures by households, businesses, and governments from future periods when the economy is likely to be stronger.
So he was there for 2 terms, so 08 to 16, and then Trump, and then Biden.
So let's think about this, all right? Somebody tried to argue in debate with me that stimulus was good, that handing people these stimulus checks was good for the economy. And I don't think that they really understood and realized that every debt has to be paid at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So a stimulus check, free money handed out by the government, is a debt that you ultimately have to repay. And people are like, well, we paid into that. No, you didn't. You didn't pay into stimulus. There was never a stimulus line on your paycheck. They were confusing it with Social Security. Mm-hmm. And that is part of the problem. People are confused. They run off at the mouth. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They refuse to do basic research and find out exactly who the president was and what his political party was. It just takes 2 seconds.
And also, I was right. President Bush was a Republican. I knew he was Republican.
Oh, okay, cool. Which makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because Obama did the cash for clunkers. Mm-hmm. The Democrats be doing some dumb shit. Mm-hmm. That's what, Yeah. Bush said some dumb shit. Yeah. As I said, the Republicans be saying some dumb shit. Bush said some dumb shit. Trump said some dumb shit. But the Democrats be doing some dumb shit.
But then Trump, Republican, he came in and he pulled back on a lot of regulations with the EPA, with the railroads, with the whatever. And now we're seeing a ton of issues with railroads and EPA.
Well, you got two sides of the coin here. Do you want, forward progress in your economy, or, do you want what we have now?
Yeah.
Because what we have now is a bunch of red tape and bullshit pushing us down the path of recession, depression, fuel shortages, no diesel fuel, higher prices, risk to farmers and their ability to produce.
So then here's the question. Is that because of who's in office now, or did that start because of who was in office? That's how I'm always curious.
So let me read this again.
Okay.
This is going to be very, very simple, I think, hopefully for people to understand. On June 24, 2009, President Obama signed into law the Car Allowance Rebate System, CARS, commonly known as Cash for Clunkers, one of several stimulus programs whose purpose was to shift expenditures by households, businesses, and governments from future periods when the economy is likely to be stronger to the present when the economy has an abundance of unemployed resources that can be put to work at low net economic costs.
So what that says is he looked into the future and said, we'll have plenty of money there, so we're going to take that future money and use it right now. And in the future, they're going to have to restructure and spend less because of what we're taking now?
It only works if in the future
there's more money. Yeah. Okay. Whereas, so the stimulus that we got for C-19...
That was, I don't think that was a projection. That was just,
we need help.
They pulled that damn ripcord. They were like,
do it and hope the parachute opens.
That was it. Of course. It's a loan. It's a bank. Hey, let me borrow money. You got to pay it back. Sure. I don't have any money right now, which is why I need the loan.
Yeah.
But I'll have it in the future.
Yeah. And they're going to charge you interest.
I'll make more. It makes sense. Here. Take.
And now we have inflation.
So the problem is, it's like presidents today, us today, the country today has problems from the past. And each new administration creates new problems for the future.
That makes perfect sense.
Versus trying to actually solve the problems today.
What's also funny is when you create problems for the future, but you also create problems for today. Like, can you create one solution for one time frame? That's just one. That'd be great.
Just keep kicking the can down the road. And, what's crazy is that they are forward thinking in that aspect, whereas most people are not.
Yeah.
And most people are like the right now, the yesterday, and they're not thinking down the road of how to improve, but also how things could be far worse, and are completely misguided on what matters most. And I can tell you guys right now, it is not stockpiling chickens and growing eggs. Like, that's not it. When you get evicted and they come knocking on your door and you hand them a chicken, they're like, you're not allowed to have chickens in this apartment, right?
Yeah, that's what
you're like, but I want to pay my bill with chickens and eggs.
You're like, I'm vegan. You're like, your chicken does me no good.
And then the chicken flies out of your hand, running down the hallway, and you got to chase them. It's a mess.
Yeah. And now I want to watch you chase a chicken, just so you know.
So let's see here. We got Elon Musk doing some crazy shit.
Oh, are you gonna mention Tesla dropping its price Model Y base so that it's cheaper, like one of the cheapest cars?
Cheap is a relative term.
That's what I was gonna say.
It'd be like going to fat camp, and the lightest person there you call skinny.
True.
You really? I don't think so.
Walked out.
Elon Musk offered the coveted blue check mark to the masses. Now he basically is handing out Tesla Model Ys, which apparently he took Trump's blue check mark back. He took it away.
Dun, dun, dun.
The leading electric vehicle company is slashing the price of its baseline SUV to below the average price of a new vehicle. It's the latest shakeup in the EV race and a signal that Musk is going for down market share.
That is what I was saying.
The Model Y, a crossover SUV, led all EVs in domestic sales last year, moving some 243,000 units to customers. In second place was Tesla's Model 3 at roughly 200,000, while Ford's Mustang Mach-E and Chevy Bolt came in a distant third and fourth at roughly 39,000 apiece. I think that had to do with the fact that Ford and Chevy couldn't produce them.
Well, also it had to do with the fact that they called it a Mustang, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. They should have called it something completely different, and maybe other people would have bought it.
In what can only be described as an electric U-turn, Tesla is making one of the most dramatic price cuts on a mass-produced vehicle in modern history. The Model Y's cheapest tier will now retail for $46,990, down from the $52,630, some $759 less than the average U.S. price of a car or truck. And just last summer, the Model Y cost nearly $20,000 more than the average automobile. Does that make you salty that you bought one earlier and paid top dollar?
Probably. But it also means you probably can go trade in and get a brand new one for a cheaper price. But
it also means that he's producing them for far less. How is he able to do that? In Mexico.
Because he moved. Well, Ford had to move production to Mexico too. They were supposed to have a plant that they were going to do a bunch of work in Ohio, I believe it was. And at the last second, they pulled out and decided to go do their production in Mexico instead.
The price slash coincides with Tesla's first quarter earnings report, which revealed that gross profit margins, excluding regulatory credits, had fallen from around 21% in the quarter to below 16%. Musk told investors the company is pushing for higher volumes and a larger fleet versus a lower volume and higher margin. Ultimately, yeah, he's going to try to make it up in volume, but he's also trying to capture market share. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that Tesla is falling from 21% to 16, and Porsche actually went up from like 17 to 19, mm-hmm. and they're now on their push for the road to 20, and they're going to get it.
And this is on EVs, right? Or
well, Tesla's all EV. Tesla's all EV.
I'm talking about the Porsche.
Porsche is just in general.
In general,
like
okay.
all across the board. All across the board. The road to 20, which is 20% mm-hmm. margin, profit margin, and they've already stated that their EVs will be more expensive than their ICE, and people are going to buy them.
Internal combustion engine, ICE. So you also have to keep in mind that Biden at first, there was this whole clean energy thing by 2050, and then it was 2034, and now they're trying to do by 2025. Like, he keeps trying to undercut all these other countries who are like, well, we're going to make it a 50% reduction by 2050 on our cross-Atlantic ships and stuff, of reduce emissions there or whatever, which I plan on talking about today or tomorrow. I have a bunch of stuff on it. And then Biden's like, oh, well, I'll do it I'll do it 100% by 2035. And it's like, how? Biden have these unrealistic expectations.
I don't know if people realize that Biden's plan
will
destroys America.
Yes, I know. That's so I talk all the time about what's happening right now with the push for clean energy and like the pipelines for hydrogen, the pipelines for ethanol and methane and all this other stuff, and these wind turbines, solar power. And I get people going, what, you don't want there to be clean energy? You don't want it to help the planet? And I'm like, cool, the planet's, helping the planet is cool, but it's destroying the country at the same time. You're taking away jobs from Americans, you're hurting the land, you're taking people's homes, you're hurting our food.
Yeah, but you don't have to have good credit to get a house because your mortgage payment will be less.
Meh.
Oh, wait, the houses are $500,000 a piece, and you have to earn at least $140,000 a year to be able to afford it. Credit score doesn't matter. But you work at McDonald's and Uber on the side.
Oh, but also new housing is for rent only. You can't even buy those in the future.
Until your job is replaced by AI and automation at McDonald's. Then you're just Uber.
Enjoy your hut, basically.
Sources told Reuters on Monday that Tesla is preparing to sell Model Ys produced in its Shanghai factory to Canadian customers later this year, marking the first time the EV kings will ship cars from China to North America. The Shanghai plant is Tesla's most cost-efficient, between cheaper production and less competition. No wonder Elon is moving to make Tesla Model Ys the Ford Focuses of EVs, and he's doing it in China and in Mexico, not in America, mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Therefore, jobs, yeah. Okay? Therefore, he'll make money. Mm-hmm. Other countries will make money.
But the American people not so much.
And they will be forced to buy them because they're being pushed onto them with this green push or green, clean green, whatever he calls that thing.
Yeah. It's an interesting time to be in.
It's going to be even more interesting if you're not paying attention and you're sitting by idle and about to get crushed by this wave that you don't see behind you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
You're only looking right there.
It's like that little vine with the two girls on the beach trying to take this cool photo, and the wave just comes, just wipes them out. And then any real chance that you had when it came to some financial stability is going to be out the window. Cryptocurrency is a target. CBDC is on the way. Banks are tightening, pulling back. The Fed is going to continuously raise interest rates. Prices keep going up higher and higher. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Go buy some chickens.
Have some.
Go to Tractor Supply. Go to Tractor Supply Company. Go buy some chickens.
Oh, no, I think we're boycotting Tractor Supply.
Why?
Because they were the ones that were selling the Purina chicken feed that was making the chickens not produce eggs.
Oh.
And they're also the first ones to pull the antibiotics and things off the shelves.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was because Off Grid with Doug and Stacy and Appalachia Patera was doing something back and forth. And that's why we were boycotting. I don't even know the story. I saw the videos.
Back and forth.
I know that they were like arguing and bickering, but I didn't watch it. So I'm not going to feed into the commenting off of a title and thumbnail. No. Apparently there was some
stuff there. But it was about the chicken feed. And there was Purina had changed something with their formula, and a lot of people with chickens, whether they were mass farmers or local homegrown chickens, whatever, were saying that their chickens weren't laying eggs, and it had to do with this Purina feed that they were getting mostly from Tractor Supply. So technically, I don't think Tractor Supply is a bad store. They just happen to be carrying the brand. So technically, you should be avoiding or boycotting Purina, not Tractor Supply. But a lot of people are boycotting Tractor Supply because they said they did something with like a drag show for kids, which I did not look up, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. That is just a comment I've seen numerous times. So I'm not 100% sure there.
It's funny. This made me think about Tucker Carlson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. posted this 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And it says that Fox fires Tucker Carlson 5 days after he crossed the red line by acknowledging that the TV networks pushed a deadly and an ineffective jab to please their former advertisers. Mm-hmm. Carlson's breathtakingly courageous April 19 monologue broke TV's two biggest rules. Tucker told the truth about how greedy former advertisers controlled TV news content, and he lambasted obsequious newscasters for promoting jabs that they knew to be lethal and worthless. For many years, Tucker has had the nation's biggest audience, averaging 3.5 million, 10 times the size of CNN. Fox just demonstrated the terrifying power of big pharma.
Do you know what's interesting from there? It just got pulled and can no longer be administered. The first two jabs from Moderna and Pfizer, they are no longer allowed to be given. You can only now have the bivalent. I don't know how you say the word. The second dose, whatever. You can only get those. They are no longer allowing the first two Moderna and Pfizer ones. They've been pulled from the shelves, no longer allowed to be administered. So maybe Tucker a little onto something.
Let's see here. It says one of the responses is, I'm pretty sure he cleared your interview before he had you on, and I'm pretty sure everything was edited and cleared by a boss at Fox before it aired. Robert Kennedy says the interview was live. Maybe. But also it says here that people will get mad at you for speaking the truth rather than being mad at the people who lied. Mm-hmm. Remember that, folks. We'll see you guys real soon.
Bye.